So, Mike Parry, you've got to come clean with me. You've got to admit it. Are you one of these folk that have toilet paper rolls throughout your house?
Yes, I am actually, but that's not just because the situation is as it is. I do that all the time. I'm very glad, Dan, that you mentioned the word preparation buyer, because I am a preparation buyer. I'm not a panic buyer, right? I don't go out and panic, but I do believe that in the way you run your life, you've got to be a bit smarter than the average bear. You've got to be aware of trends in anything you do in life. I get up at 4:30 every morning. I'm on the news channels by 5 o'clock. I pick up the first editions of the papers, and the first time I saw BP saying that maybe 6 of their petrol stations throughout the United Kingdom might go short of petrol in the next 48 hours, whoosh, I was down to my local station and I got my car filled up.
When I go around Tesco... Mike, do you not understand, though, that it's that sort of behaviour that is causing the empty shelves? If everyone just bought what they needed to buy, there wouldn't be all of the empty shelves.
Dan, I'll tell you something, my car needed petrol. I didn't go down there with a load of cans like all these fools who take jerry cans down and fill them up. I thought, right, I'm going to fill my car full of petrol. All I was doing was preparing myself for what could have become a problem to myself, to my family, and the people who depend upon me, OK?
Well,
I don't panic.
Isn't that fair enough? Rebecca Jane, isn't that fair enough? Mike is just doing what is right for his family.
Mike, you call yourself a preparation buyer. I call yourself a selfish buyer. You're saying that because your car needed to have petrol, whereas actually it's people like you that actually created this problem that we have with petrol. And if you carry on doing what you're doing, you're going to create far more problems for the people that can't afford it. And essentially, you're creating an injustice for a low income problem.
No, I'm not at all. Let me tell you, I'm saving those people at the low-income end of our society, because what I'm doing is I'm taking my petrol, I'm going away. You know as well as I do, and Dan certainly knows, there was no supply problem with petrol. There was no supply problem with petrol.
You said that you are stockpiling. You have said quite straightly and with pride that you watch the news, and as soon as they announce that there may be shortages, you go straight down there. Why do you think that you are more important than the person next door to you, and that you deserve to get all of these things quicker than everybody else? Do things normally. Don't bother stockpiling all year round at any time. Just don't do it, because you're creating a problem for people that can't afford to have it.
So, Mike, Rebecca's saying you're selfish, essentially.
Full of petrol. The fact that I filled it at 5 o'clock in the morning when I knew there might be a problem later in the day just means that I'm on the ball and other people aren't. I don't think I should be criticised for that.
What about the toilet paper, Mike?
Right, OK, all right, I'll answer that one, Dan. I read 2 days ago or 3 days ago there could be a potential loo roll problem towards Christmas. I thought, I tell you what, I'm going to prepare for that. I'm not going to panic buy. I'm going to make my preparation. So I went and got 2 packets of 9 rolls, 2 packs of 9 rolls of loo paper, which is now in my second bathroom stored there. But I can tell you something, I've not created a shortage of loo paper in this country. I've just been smarter than the average bear.
But, Mike, if everyone were to do the same thing, we would have no toilet paper on our shelves at all.
But everyone isn't doing the same thing because they've not picked up on it yet.
Well, they might now, Rebecca. I mean, this is the issue.
They might, but all I'm saying is I'm entitled as a consumer to go into any supermarket and buy anything that's on the shelves. I didn't start a rush on loo paper. I read something which made me think, there could be a problem in a week's time. I'm going to look after those that depend upon me and make sure in this household we don't run out of loo paper. It's quite as simple as that. It's preparation buying.
Rebecca, is there any little part of you that is tempted? Do you feel nervous at all when you read about the potential shortages?
Yeah, do you know what? I do feel nervous, but the difference in me and Mike is that actually I don't think that I'm more important than other people. So I'll leave
Neither do I.
That are important for other... Mike, just give me a second, because I actually take quite offence at what you're doing. And you've really come in here with a prideful attitude of it, but actually you're deluded. You're not seeing that this is completely and utterly selfish. And this kind of attitude, especially going on national television and portraying this to other people, you are inflicting more anxiety on the public. And actually, if I bought into it, that could give me real problems as somebody that's had mental health issues. I'm not buying into it because actually I think that if everybody stayed calm, we wouldn't have a petrol crisis. We wouldn't have a loo roll crisis. This is where it starts. It starts with people like you saying, I'm just looking after my family by going out and buying petrol and loo roll. But actually, because everybody does it all at the same time, and a lot of people, when they don't need it, this is what creates a rise in anxiety and this situation that we are currently dealing with where we are running out of stock. Everybody needs to calm down and just chill.
So, Mike, you might...
Yeah, Rebecca, you can sit on your moral high horse. I'm sorry, Dan.
For other folks' anxiety.
I'm not. I'm not causing anybody any anxiety. I tell you what I think causes anxiety. When Rebecca takes this attitude, people don't prepare in what they buy, and then you've got great anxiety, Rebecca, in your household. When you've got no loo paper, when you've got no petrol in your car, you are creating anxiety amongst your own by not preparing properly for economic conditions.
Mike, you say preparing, but in reality, it's panic. It's panicking.
No, I'm not panicking. I promise you, Dan, I'm not in a state of panic. Do I look as though I'm panicking?
All right, so everybody goes out and does what you're telling them today.
Panic buying.
So we all go out.
No, it's not panic buying. It's preparing.
Hey, calm down. We all go out and we all buy more petrol right now. We all go out and we buy more toilet roll right now. We're going to have none left. It's not necessary. I don't know how many rolls I've got upstairs, but it's more than enough for me to cope. I don't need to prepare any further. I will prepare when it's time and I have one loo roll. For goodness sakes, was that on national television arguing about loo roll? This is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
No,
buy what you need at the time that you need. It is not a case of preparing. Leave it for the people that desperately need it when we are going through a time of shortage in society.
Mike, haven't you learned lessons from early on in the pandemic? Because this happened last March. And we saw the consequences. We saw that there was no hand sanitizer because people were stocking it up and it meant that vulnerable people couldn't have it. We saw that there was no toilet paper. At some point, don't we have to learn that we all just go about our business normally and that avoids the empty shelves?
Yeah, that's not reality, Dan. You know that's not reality. So what will Rebecca do? Stand outside Morrison's, wave everybody through and say, go on, you lot, just go and get everything you want, and I'll take the moral high ground. I'll come in after you. And by the time Rebecca gets in, there's nothing there. You've got to take responsibility for your own behaviour. And buying stuff that's essential to your life is just common sense and good behaviour. It's not panic buying.
No, Mike, can you please explain to me why it was okay? We have obviously gone through a petrol crisis because ambulances, police and all the rest of it struggle to get petrol. How on earth can you justify that?
Well, because all I did was fill my car up with petrol. I didn't, as I said to you earlier, I didn't take jerry cans down. I wasn't filling petrol cans. I simply said, at some stage, my car, the petrol tank needs to be filled up. So I'm going to do it now rather than later when I might have to wait for an hour in a queue into a petrol station. All I'm saying is, Rebecca, people have to be aware of circumstances around them. And all I was doing was trying to stop the problem that I could see looming. I mean, honestly, it's a herd mentality, Rebecca. Everybody goes to try and get stuff if they think there's going to be a shortage. Are you telling me that you are morally a superior person because you stand aside and say, no, let everybody else have it?
Well, I haven't done any panic buying throughout this pandemic. I didn't at any point. And I've been absolutely fine throughout the process. And I do feel, Rebecca, like I'm doing the best thing for society by not panic buying and by keeping calm. But final word to you, Rebecca.
Enough. Stop it. Have a review. You can call it taking the moral high ground. Just go away from this and just have a little bit of a think. We ended up in a crisis with the petrol situation, people who desperately needed to get to hospital. Mike, final words to me. The people struggle to get to hospital, okay? And when it's a case of life or death, you need to think, is it actually worth me doing this? Do I desperately need to do it? It's not a case of moral high ground. It's a case of looking after our neighbours.
And no one needs 18 toilet rolls. Even you, Mike Parry. Even you. Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.